So I bet a lot of you are thinking, well, wait a second. I'm looking at the title of what this lesson is going to be, choosing just right text and reading with stamina in nonfiction. But wasn't that just something we had to do in fiction? Au contraire, mon frere. Choosing just right text and reading with stamina and power is not something we just do with fictional books, but it's something we should also do with nonfiction books. Did you guys know that it's possible to read too slowly, and when you do read too slowly, you can't understand what it is that you're reading? That's why reading with stamina and speed is so important. Because when you do read with speed, believe it or not, you're going to have an easier time comprehending or understanding the text that you're reading. I know we've been reading a lot of nonfiction texts in here. And when we've been doing that, I've been taking the time to stop and talk to some of the students about their books and have them tell me some information from them. What I've come to realize is that people can't tell me anything from their books. And that worries me. And I was wondering to myself, why can't they comprehend anything from their stories? And then I was observing the class, and I noticed that students were curled over your text and your shoulders were all hunched and your eyes were squinted, and you were just inching and plodding your way through your books, 1 or 2 pages, the whole reading period. And that made me think, no wonder why they're having a hard time holding on this information. They're not reading with speed, and they're choosing books that are way too hard for them. Let me share an example with you. I'm going to whistle you a song at a slow pace. It's a very popular song. See if you can identify it. Okay, could you identify it? I know my whistling's bad, but it's hard. See if we can identify it at a normal rate. I'm sure by now, most of you are probably able to identify it as happy birthday. Do you notice the difference between the two? When you read slower, it's going to be harder to understand your information. But when you read something faster, it's going to be more clear and you're going to be able to hold on to that information or comprehend it better. So reading fast, strong, and long is not just a way to get your reading done, but it's a way to comprehend your information. And that's what I want you to focus on today. So that brings us to today's teaching point, and that is, as people learn new information, the new information, it accumulates with the old information, creating an ever-increasing supply of knowledge. So what does that really mean? Well, let me kind of try to put it into terms that you would understand. You get the new knowledge along with the old knowledge, right? It's like a guy and a girl kind of hanging out together and they decide that they're at a party and they want to start dancing, okay? The new information, the old information get together, they start dancing, and they start doing the Dougie. That is the ever-increasing supply of knowledge. The new information and the old information coming together, creating an ever-increasing supply of knowledge, otherwise known as the Dougie. I kind of hope that helped you. It's kind of freaking me out inside, just got to be honest with you. So one thing I like to do is I like to make lists. Lists help me remember to do things. And I'm telling you this because I think that lists can help not only me remember things, but it can help you remember things to do in reading. You know, in nonfiction, I'm asking you to do a lot of things. I'm asking you to take a quiz at the end of every book. I am asking you to do those pre-reading strategies, answering those questions whenever you open up a new book. And I'm asking you to take notes. I think something that you should do is you should create a list of the things that you need to do every day in reading. You know you have those 3 things to do, and then add onto your list anything else I'm asking you to do. That way it helps you keep track of what it is that you need to do. And also, don't forget about all those things that you've learned before in fictional reading. Empathy and reading with power and reading with stamina. Because those things are going to be helpful in nonfiction as well. So one of the things that you should be adding onto your list today is signs to watch for when choosing a book. You know, when you're choosing a book, you know it's going to be too hard if you're reading a part of it and you don't understand what's going on. If you have to stop yourself and go, huh? That usually is a good sign that you're reading something that's too tough. If you have to read it too slowly, we've talked about today that reading with speed is going to help you understand it and comprehend it better. So remember, if you're reading it too slowly, find something different. If you can't read it with expression, Mrs. Lukasiewicz has talked so many times about, when she's reading, you guys are so engaged because she reads with expression. But she has told you that when she is reading quietly, she still has that same expression in her head. And that's the kind of expression you should be reading with, because that's going to help you become a better reader. And then if you keep getting stuck on things that you don't understand, or if there's any sticking points, then you know it's too hard. But you know it's just right if you can understand it, if you find it funny, or if it even makes you angry, where it's drawing out emotion, where you get most of the words correct. I'm not going to be naive and sit there and say that you're going to know every single word. Of course not. But you should know most of them. If you can read it fast and smoothly. If I walked up to you and I asked you to read it to me, you would be clipping along, just like I was during Happy Birthday. You wouldn't be plodding through it and stumbling through it. So reading it fast and smooth is key. Reading it with expression easily. And then when you're reading and you're noticing the punctuation, because it's there for a reason. A period means stop! A comma means take a breath. An exclamation point means that's exciting. Those things. Make sure you know what it means and you're reading and noticing that punctuation. It would be really helpful if you took a screenshot of this page and you especially cropped this part. So when you're looking for a book or you're choosing a book, that you're keeping these things in mind. So today, I want you to do me a favor. As you're reading and you have your list next to you of all the things that you should be doing every single day as a great reader, taking the quizzes at the end of your stories, going through the questions before you read a text, and taking good notes either through mind mapping or a traditional way, boxes and bullets, or through a summary. But you are also thinking back to the things that we've done in our fictional reading, and you're incorporating those into your nonfiction reading. That's going to make you a better reader. And remember, nonfiction readers, check the texts that are just right and aim to read strong and long. Find that good fit book, sit and read with power. Which brings me up to the next little poster. You should take a screenshot of this also and keep this in mind. Nonfiction readers, read with power. Think, am I reaching back and using those strategies that I learned earlier that are still needed to what I'm doing today? That's all those things in fiction. And then choosing just right books and reading those books with speed and stamina to be a great comprehender. I will guarantee you, if you are honest with yourself in the choices that you are making, you are going to be a great nonfiction reader. But it comes down to you. Are you going to be honest with yourself?